Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to my channel. I'm in the other room today. That can only mean one thing. It's time for another wedding themed series video. I haven't filmed one of these in a while, and honestly, that's mainly been because of lockdown. There hasn't been much I've been able to do in terms of planning the wedding. I'm still dabbling with putting up a video about how we found our venue and how you should go about finding your venue, or how you could, and you can kind of use that same concept for finding a lot of your vendors, but I haven't really done that yet. But this was one that I really wanted to do because it is something that is playing a big role in my wedding planning, and that is DIYing. A lot of people, especially since the advent of Pinterest and Instagram and all of these things, have taken it upon themselves to do a lot of things for their own wedding. But there are some restrictions and some small little rules that you should play by. So I am going to tell you what my 5 criteria are and things to think about are when deciding if you should DIY or don't even try. The first thing that you should think about is time. I don't mean necessarily just how long will it take you to DIY, but also how much time do you have between when you get engaged to when you're actually getting married. If you guys can see in the back, I have 485 days until I am walking down the aisle. That is plenty of time for me to DIY some stuff. And to be honest, I'm already done a lot of it. I actually for once have like a bunch of the stuff I've DIY'd just in case you guys are interested in seeing it. I will show it in the video. But that's the first thing. When you are thinking about what kind of things to DIY, whether it be centerpieces, other decor items, if you are planning on doing all of your own stationery, so that could mean if you're having programs at your wedding, if you're having escort cards, if you are doing your own invitations or save the dates, whatever. How much time do you have? How many do you need? That sort of thing. You can DIY signs. You could DIY, in some cases, furniture, table numbers, all sorts of things can be DIY'd for your wedding, and it can add a nice personal touch. It might be able to save you some money, which we will talk about later, but do you have the time required to do it? For example, for us, we are expecting about 150 guests at our wedding. So to be safe, I made 100 invitations, 100 save the dates, and crazy enough, I've actually also made our thank you cards, which are going to be, I'm hoping that my camera will focus on these, be going out after the wedding. So this is one style of thank you card. This is the other style. Honestly, I kind of just threw these together over the course of a couple nights. It's definitely not something I need right now, especially because these don't go out till after the wedding, but it's nice that they're done. I also have the base to our wedding invitation, which looks like this. I was able to buy a die on Amazon to cut out this sort of lacy pattern. I've put like a little wood panel here. And eventually our information, I guess it's going to go this way, is going to be inside, and any other little things we may need to add. And I also did our save the dates. I'm going to cover where we're getting married, which is on the front. So the back just says, you're invited to celebrate the nuptials of a happy couple. And there's some rings on it. And then, here we go. I put save the date, Tom and Sam, June 11th, 2022, where it is in Ontario. And those are going to be going out this summer. So for me, I've already done all of those. I've had plenty of time to do them. But if you're going to have a short engagement, A, maybe you don't even need save the dates, and B, you might want to get somebody who can professionally do them because it does take a lot of time. Same can be said for centerpieces. I haven't started mine yet, but that's because we have 485 days and I don't want 20 centerpieces just sitting around in our basement. I'm gonna wait a little while. But some things take longer than others, so just make sure that you have the time available to get to dedicate to doing it at your own pace so you don't feel rushed. The last thing you wanna do is be like, we have to get the invitations out tomorrow and I still have 20 to make tonight, and you're like ripping your hair out trying to get it done. Maybe, you work really crazy hours at work and don't have the time to dedicate it outside of work. Maybe you've already got kids and you have to be aware of that as well. So just think, do you have the time necessary to dedicate to some of these things? The second thing you need to think about is resources. How how are you going to get some of the things that you need to DIY? Do you already have some of the things? Can you borrow some of the things? Do you have friends that are willing to help you that can do some of the things? So for me, for example, for all of this paper crafting that I've done, I have made my own cards for years and years and years. So I already had a Big Shot die cutting machine. I just had to buy this specific die, which was about $15 on Amazon, which is an average price of a metal paper die. But if I'd had to buy a Big Shot, that would have been an extra $200, would have been a little ridiculous. Paper, I'm really good at paper crafting. I already had a lot of the adhesives. I had, the big paper cutter because I think that's important as well. What kind of tools do you need to be successful in the projects you're attempting? Do you already have them? So for us, for our table numbers, we are going to be using little wooden rounds with the bottom portion cut off so they stand nice and flat, and we're going to burn the numbers into them. We don't have a wood burner, but we are fortunate enough that we have a very close friend that does, and Tom likes to go over there anyways in the summertime, and they like to do projects, so that's going to be one of their summer projects. So we don't have to obtain a wood burner. We already know someone who has one. Say you want to make signs or harvest tables or anything like that. Do you have the wood? Do you have an easy way of getting the wood? Do you have the saws and the tools and the stain and the brushes and stuff required? That's something to think about, because at the end of the day, here's an example. I, for example, decided that for the wedding, I really liked the idea of those personalized wedding hangers that you can get. Now, for me, this is what ours are gonna look like. So this is my one. I'm only showing you these guys' ones so that you guys can't see the names of anybody else. So it says bride here, my full name here, and then the date of our wedding on this side. I do not have a Cricut machine. This is what the guys' ones are gonna look like. They're gonna be in a dark wood. Tom says groom, his name, and here I've got them for all of the groomsmen, all of the bridesmaids, as well as the mothers and the fathers, so that they have somewhere nice to sort of hang. I know guys don't care like girls do, but I didn't want them to be left out. So could I have done these completely on my own? Sure, I could have, but to be honest, I don't have a Cricut machine, and those are the machines you need to cut the decals out. Now, a Cricut machine costs a couple $100, plus you have to buy the vinyl, plus you have to get used to using it. You have to have a computer for which you can install the program and all of this stuff. So rather than that, now, before I say this, on the other end of that spectrum, to buy hangers like this pre-made, they're normally about $10 to $20 a piece, which to me is just ridiculous for a hanger that's just a little keepsake for somebody that they probably don't really care about. It's just something one of those cute things I saw that I decided I wanted to do. So what did I do instead? I went on to Amazon and I was able to buy packs of hangers. I think I bought, I want to say 20 white hangers and 20 of the dark wood hangers. They were about $21 per 20, so just over $1 a piece. The ribbon I picked up at Michael's. I'm only adding that to the girls hanger, so that was another $3. And I was able to find a company on Etsy, which I will link down below in case anybody else is interested in doing this, that makes special decals just for hangers. So I've got some of the boys ones left because I'm not completely done putting them all on. This is what they look like. To buy a set of a decal, a name, and a date, a name, and a roll, I think they were $1.34 for the whole set or something like that. So I just put in all the names and all the dates and everything for those, had them sent, and I applied them on my own. So overall, I would say each hanger cost me under $5, way under $5, probably more like $3 at the very, very most to do, which is much, much better than the $10 I could have spent. Now, one other thing that I got made rather than doing myself is, again, because I don't have a Cricut, I bought, and I've already kind of mentioned these once before in a video that will be out later, these champagne tumblers for, myself and my bridesmaids, my mom, Tom's mom, to have the morning of while we're getting ready, drinking either just champagne or mimosas or juice out of whatever. I thought they were really cute. I just bought mine pre-made because it was easier. But again, if you had a Cricut cutting machine and you wanted to do something like this, you could definitely make the decals yourself and buy the little tumblers or wine glasses or whatever in bulk for cheaper, and you might be able to save some money that way. But it's all a case of just deciding what are your resources, how much is it going to cost you to get those resources, and is it really worth it? The next thing we're going to talk about, thing number 3, is your skill set. I don't mean for anybody to take offense doing this, because we all like to think that we could master a lot of things. But for me, for example, I am super clumsy. I am well known to hurt myself quite regularly. Doing any kind of woodworking is not a good idea for me. It would just end in pure disaster. And I know that the finished product just wouldn't be up to my standards and wouldn't be very good. But I've seen some of the work that Tom and his friend have done making other woodworking pieces, so I know that they are going to do fantastic. I'm gonna get exactly what I want out of it. So I'm quite confident in them doing it. Cards, for example, there was no way that Tom was gonna be able to help me make any of this kind of stuff. It is a skill set that I have kind of acquired and gotten better at over a really long time of making cards. So that's something that not anybody can do, or everybody wants to do. Maybe you don't enjoy it. Same thing, painting, hand painting signs. Not for me. I don't have the steadiest hand. If I want to go that route, it would be much easier for me to purchase them, or at least purchase some kind of a stencil for them. So decide on your skill set. Now, one thing that I am breaking this rule over is flowers. I have decided, I went back and forth on how much flowers really meant to me in a wedding, because, we are trying to do this as inexpensively as is humanly possible. And I'm not a big flower girl in general. I don't really like receiving them. We don't have them in the house ever. We don't have them in a garden or anything like that. Flowers just aren't a big deal to me. So I was kind of ready to just scrap the whole idea of having flowers. And maybe I was even thinking of like trying to craft and make my own fake flowers out of like coffee filters or something. But I was afraid that that would just look way too cheesy, and I don't want that. So I came up with a third option, which is you buy your flowers in bulk, you get them delivered to your house or a family member's house or a friend's house like a couple days before the wedding, and you make your own bouquets, corsages, boutonnieres. So that is what I am going to do. I've kind of budgeted out that for around $500, I can get enough roses and baby's breath and filler to make all of the bouquets I'm gonna need, all the corsages and the boutonnieres that I'm gonna need, and possibly have some extras if I decide I want to incorporate that into some centerpieces as well. This is something I have never done before, but what I have been doing is, using, I didn't even talk about this resource. The other resource I wanted to talk about was the internet. We have such an advantage because we have things like YouTube, like Etsy and Pinterest and all of these things that can help us, bring things forth for our wedding. So why not use them? There are tons and tons of like floral shops that sell flowers in bulk, and then we'll put videos up for how you can use those to make boutonnieres or flowers, what kind of materials you're gonna need, estimates of how many flowers you're gonna need for which type of thing you're making. I have been watching tons of those videos. I have a small army of friends that are going to be helping me do this, that I'm confident enough that I will be able to get it done. That is about the only thing I'm really nervous for the wedding, is getting like a whole bunch of flowers delivered like 2 days before and somehow turning that magically into like beautiful bouquets that are gonna be photographed and remembered forever. Wish me luck, we'll see how it goes. I may consider like filming how that goes, at least if it goes well, like filming like how to do it, how much I ordered, that kind of stuff for people in the future that are thinking of doing the same thing, to hopefully help them out. Because as of right now, I have been able to find like 1 or 2 videos on YouTube of people that have gone the same route, and the videos aren't super descriptive or clear and don't give a ton of details about like how many flowers were purchased and how much they made. So if I could do something like that, I definitely will, but I'll have to get permission from anybody helping me. Which brings me to number 4. I think we're on number 4 right now. Help. Do you have friends and people and loved ones and whatever, family members that you can guilt into doing it, that can help you? Like I said, for me to do all of those flowers, because at the end of the day, I think I need something like 9 bouquets, like 18 boutonnieres for all of the bridesmaids and the fathers and the grandfathers and all of that stuff, and like 4 corsages, I think is the final number I came up with for grandmothers and mothers and whatever. Do you have people that can help you and are willing to help you do that? Now, I am fortunate enough that we have got tons of amazing friends that have all said, if you need my help with anything, you call me and I will be there. So I plan on having like a couple days before the wedding, maybe on like the Wednesday and the Thursday if need be, I plan on just having a day where I have a ton of girls over to my parents' house just because they have more space than we have, and order everybody pizza and we can have some drinks and stuff like that and sit there and kind of get an assembly line going to make all of the different flowers that we're going to need for the wedding. I am so grateful that I have that. And again, for the table numbers, we have a great friend who's willing to help us do this, without whom we would not be able to make our own table numbers. Another thing, I have decided to bake my own cake and cupcakes rather than spending a small fortune to get one. I am probably not going to be doing the baking. It will be, I would assume, either my mother or my sister might help. I'm not too sure. But again, that's more people that are willing to help. One of the saddest things that I have seen, and it just breaks my heart for a lot of other brides, is I'm on a lot of like wedding advice and wedding chats and all of these things on Facebook in particular. And every once in a while, a bride will post and say, does it feel like none of your bridesmaids or friends or family want to help or like contribute to the wedding at all? And it just breaks my heart, because I know how fortunate I am that I have Megan, for example, who is already planning my bachelorette party and already making lists of everything she needs to bring to the wedding and all of these things. I have my mom, I have Tom's mom, who are both willing to help in any way that they can. Tons of friends and family that just want to be there in any possible way and just want to be involved as much as they can in the wedding planning process. And that means so much to me, and I know I'm so lucky for that. And I'm also very lucky that I have Tom, because as much as this is more my baby than his, he has definitely, you know, he gave a lot of input when it came to thank you cards. He has been helping decide colors for gifts for bridesmaids, colors for the wedding in general. He helped pick out the table numbers, all of those things. As much as he's not doing them, anytime I ever ask him for any help, he does it in a heartbeat. The fifth and final consideration to make when deciding to DIY: is it really saving you any money? Because at the end of the day, you know, I'll just say I, for example, am DIYing to save costs, to save what it would cost to buy a fully personalized made hanger. I probably saved, you know, who knows how much I saved on those, but a lot of money. To, you know, make a wedding cake. You're saving a ton to DIY that yourself, but there's gonna be some things where you're gonna find the cost will just rack up, and it would have probably been cheaper just to get them professionally done. One of my things that might be the case of may end up being the wedding invitations. And I don't know yet. I just know that for these, like, to make the thank you cards were really inexpensive. I literally needed one pack of white paper, and I used stamps and embossing powder and inks that I already had, that I'd already spent money on years in advance. Same thing for the save the dates. The paper was fairly inexpensive. I did need to buy a couple special stamp sets. But again, it wasn't that much. It's more the invitations where I know how expensive this paper was. I needed to buy like 50 sheets of paper that cost like $1 each, something like that, or $1.29 each. I don't know how much it would have cost me to order wedding invitations, but I might have come pretty close on that. But for me, I think it was also expected that I make my own, because I've been giving people personally made cards for years and years and years. And if all of a sudden I was buying somebody else's for my wedding, that would seem a little weird. But at the end of the day, is it really gonna save you money? Like I said, for me to have done the decals for my hangers would have cost me more than it was worth. And while I may have ended up using the Cricut in the future, I don't know that. And to buy the vinyl and the machine to do it all and learn it did not seem worth it to me when I could just purchase them online for way, way cheaper, and then it wasn't my hassle, it wasn't my thing to worry about. That is a consideration that needs to be made, is it really saving you money? Or by time you put in your time, get the materials, and, you know, go through trial and error and all that stuff, are you actually saving any money, or would it be cheaper in the long run to pay somebody else to do it? I hope this video helped a little bit. I know I ramble a lot, especially in these videos that are really all about just me talking about stuff I'm doing. But I hope that it kind of helped you guys put into your head what you want to do yourself, what you don't want to do yourself. Do you have people in your life that will help you? And I hope you do, because as much as a wedding is a day to celebrate the love that you and your partner have for each other, and to share that with your family and friends. The planning process as a whole and the event as a whole is also kind of for your whole family to share with you and your friends. And I'm so happy that I have a lot that do want to share that with me. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below. If you've ever made your own flowers in particular and have any advice for me, please let me know down below. I am so desperate for anybody who will help me work that out in my mind. And if you're not already and you would like to be, then subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.